One of the world's costliest watches is made of steel. This is not a saying from today or last year. This is a saying from 1976 when Patek introduced the Nautilus, in the times when steel was all about tool watches. Like the great swords of another age, Nautilus took shape between the skilled hands of master craftsmen. Like sword and knight, Nautilus and its owners are meant to be inseparable for life. Nautilus, with its hand-finished Patek Philippe's self-winding movement, will accompany you when you dive, or when the occasion is formal and festive, or when you set out to slay dragons in the boardroom. A watch by Patek Philippe goes beyond just measuring the hours. Even the simple joy of owning one adds something to your day. When you handle Patek Philippe, you become aware that this is a watch of rare perfection. Patek experience a sense of pride every time a watch leaves the hands of their craftsmen. For Patek, it lasts a moment. For you, a lifetime. Patek watches are made for you, to be a part of your life, because this is the way Patek have always made watches. And if the horologists at Patek draw a conclusion from 5 generations of experience, it will be this. A Patek Philippe doesn't just tell you the time, it tells you something about yourself. This was also not my script. Rather, these were the advertising lines of Nautilus and Patek Philippe in general, which I've read to showcase what Patek Philippe as a brand stand for. One of the oldest watch manufacturers that not just mastered the skill of watchmaking, rather invented the first wristwatch in the world. Back in the late 60s, with the advent of quartz watches, and particularly by the release of first quartz watch in the world, the Seiko Astron in 1969, the Swiss watchmaking industry was shaken and saw the most devastating decline of traditional watchmaking. The introduction of quartz watches made sense for a large masses as they were sold at a much cheaper price. It was 100 times more accurate and required less maintenance compared to a mechanical watch. The impact was that the Swiss watch companies dropped from 1,600 to under 600 and their workers from 90,000 to under 30,000. Adversity reveals the best in man, and somewhere someone had to act to save themselves and the foundations of traditional watchmaking. That's when AP reached out to master jewelry designer of the time, Gerald Genta, to design a watch that could show to the world that mechanical watches were more than just the devices to show the time, a piece of art and workmanship, and an exceptionally crafted timepiece that lasts longer than human lives. Gerald Genta took one day and designed the first luxury steel watch in the world and introduced the concept of integrated bracelet watches. That first luxury steel watch was called Royal Oak. Patek, being one of the biggest luxury watch manufacturers that mastered and excelled the skill of traditional and mechanical watchmaking, faced the same challenges and took the chapter of AP's Book of Success and reached out to Genta to create another original design for Patek Philippe. This time, Gerald Genta took 5 minutes to sketch another watch on a piece of paper, which would later be named as Nautilus. The inspiration for the design of Nautilus, when Genta designed it, was the shape of ship porthole, and while the idea was again an octagonal bezel, as was the case with the Royal Oak, this time Genta reshaped the bezel to a more subtle and less angular shape than he did for the Royal Oak, where the bezel is a true octagon. Resultingly, while the bezel on Nautilus is again octagonal, it looks more rectangular with rounded corners, because the 8 corners of the octagon blend into its curved profile and are not pointed, unlike Royal Oak. Genta was very clear with his vision of designing the Nautilus to be a more subtle, less angular, less aggressive and less polarizing watch than the Royal Oak. And this time, there were also no bezel screws. Rather, the bezel was smooth, with more understated and elegant looks, as opposed to the industrial looks with exposed screws on the Royal Oak. One more symbolic design with Nautilus was the ears on the case at 3 and 9 o'clock position, which were not so much just a case profile from the design and aesthetics perspective. Rather, it was the vision of Genta, where the bezel was designed to attach to the case, using the ears having screws to connect the components together. As the inspiration was ship porthole, the ears were reminiscent of hinges in the ship window. The original design was a monoblock case, where the bezel would screw into the case using the ears, and there was no case back window. This would mean that the movement would be inserted into the case always from the dial side, before the dial and the bezel would be inserted to assemble the case. This design in the modern Nautilus has since been changed into a 3-piece structure, where the watch comes with an exhibition case back to show the movement in its full glory. The modern Nautilus, however, continues to maintain all the design aesthetics, profiles and looks, and comes in the same integrated bracelet design, where the whole watch looks to be a single piece watch, and as such, the design is so extraordinary that there is no boundary between where the watch case ends and the bracelet begins, and then also where the clasp connects to the bracelet. This is the integrated bracelet watch idea, where every component of the watch is designed to complement each other, and the seamlessness, the flow and the fluidity of the design remain undisrupted and unaffected as the watch transitions from its case to the bracelet. While design is one aspect of the watch, and we do always give the due credit to its designer, Gerald Genta, let's not forget that the sketch can never be a success unless the execution is also delivered with the same high standards as the design itself. Needless to mention that this or Royal Oak were not the only watches that were designed by Gerald Genta, but these are definitely two of the most sought after and desirable watches in the world, and the credit really goes to how exceptionally they are executed to allow them to give the experience that only they do and nothing else. The Nautilus is also the only steel luxury watch from the 70s that, although maintains its original design and aesthetics, but comes with a modern movement. What Patek do exceptionally well is the attention to detail, and Patek only upgraded the movement in Nautilus in 2006 when they were able to come up with an in-house movement that was as thin as the original Jaeger-LeCoultre movement in the earlier Nautilus. Resultingly, the modern Nautilus got an exhibition case back, but not at the cost of case thickness. And where you enjoy the original thinness of the Nautilus, there is a display of 21 karat solid gold rotor, and then all the detailing and decoration with quartz de Geneva stripes, circular graining, polished and beveled bridges, polished screws and beautifully crafted bridges and the plates. It is worth noting that when AP did the in-house movement in the Royal Oak, the case thickness increased from 8.2mm to 9.8mm, and now in the latest Royal Oak 15500, the thickness has gone further up to 10.4mm. But with Nautilus, Patek were definitely not cutting any corners, and we have the same 8.4mm thick case as ever, or should I say 8.4mm thin case as ever. On the wrist, the Nautilus 5711 does indeed live up to its name, hype and repute. It is a truly remarkable piece, and when you put it on the wrist, you do feel why it is so special. The intelligent case design, where the watch offers the right amount of heft on the wrist due to those ears, and then the integrated case design, yet the wearability, where although it is a 40mm watch, it wears smaller than many 37mm watches. For instance, the lug-to-lug of 36mm Rolex Oyster Perpetual is over 43mm, and the Nautilus at 40mm size has only a little over 44mm lug-to-lug. The bracelet is wide at the case and narrow at the clasp, allowing the perfect transition of the watch from the case to the clasp. Just like the case, the bracelet is also extremely thin and measures at only 2.6mm. And it's due to its thinness and then the very refined treatment. The bracelet on the Nautilus is silk smooth, and you many times forget if you are wearing any watch on the wrist at all. This complements the thinner case of only a little over 8mm. And then adjusted to 6.5 inches wrist, the watch weighs only 110 grams. Patek Philippe Nautilus 5711 is arguably the most sought after steel watch in the world. And when you start to look closer into what it is, it all makes sense. The watch that helped save the traditional watchmaking alongside the Royal Oak back in the 70s, iconic enough that it is a very original design, historic enough that close to 45 years of its production run and it still looks the same, is so revolutionary that while the 70s saw the quartz crisis, there was never a digital crisis with the advent of smartwatches. The watch that changed the concept of steel watches from just a device that tells the time to a work of art that defines its wearer. Imagine being in a world where all we had was smart watches because mechanical watchmaking became history in the 70s. What would we admire in a watch? What hot horology? What work of art? What watchmaking?